But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
You did. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls. This is the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball coverage on the internet. This is episode 90. 90 is a very big number. It is Thursday, October 5th, 2023. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto, north of the border. And Everett, I am not exaggerating at all. I am not exaggerating at all when I say that this is the craziest volleyball tournament I have ever seen.
Bar none.
Ever. The 2023 men's Olympic qualifiers are the craziest tournament I have ever seen, ever. We're going to jump into all of it. It is good that we are doing several shows in the middle of this. We did an emergency episode on Monday.
I'm really glad we did.
Oh, totally.
Imagine if we hadn't done an emergency show on Monday and we had all of this to talk about. Like it would have been way too much.
It would be like a 4-hour show today.
It would exactly be a 4-hour show. Just mind blown.
So through the first 4 days of the men's Olympic qualifiers, we have had 12 significant upsets according to World Ranking Change. Like I went through and looked at all the matches. There have been 12 major upsets, including several that have carried more than 10 points of World Ranking Change. And then we had a bunch of close calls, like a lot of really good teams getting pushed to 5 and barely winning.
A bunch of close calls. Brazil,
really
you're in the hot seat. We're gonna be talking about you.
Well, we certainly are. But the only place, Everett, the only place that we can start is Germany, out of absolutely nowhere.
Deutschland.
Germany, on the shoulders of the ageless one, 38-year-old Jürgi Grozer, who has scored 105 points in 4 matches. They've just beaten Brazil and Italy in less than 24 hours, and Germany, the 6th seed, is undefeated in Pool A.
You know what, Rob? I watched Germany for the first time this tournament against Cuba. And in set 1, they were brutal, bad. And I was watching it and I was like, this is just same old Germany. Sure, you bring Grozer in. Sure, you bring Zanger back. But this team lacks an identity. And then, bam, just switch it up. Grozer just becomes an absolute monster. Not becomes, because he's always been a monster. But, man, remember when German fans were calling for Winiarski's job after VNL? Do you think they're doing the same now? Do you think they're the same calls now? Germany has been outstanding. Once again, the way they played Italy yesterday was fantastic. They just overpowered Brazil altogether. I thought maybe should have been a 3-0. But Germany right now is looking like one of the best teams in the world. They really are. They are looking so dangerous.
They are, and like you said, that the Germany that we've seen most of this summer, like sleepwalk through VNL, never be competitive at all, and then not really be a factor at Eurovolley. Like they haven't really had an identity. And now with the return of Jürgi Grozer, who obviously makes all the difference in the world, and we'll talk about some of his numbers, but I actually kind of think that team does have an identity now, and I actually really like the style that they're playing. It's pretty simple. You just got the right personnel in there.
Workmanlike,
for sure.
Honestly, like when I could picture them, I could just picture them with like yellow high vis jackets, maybe a bit of a hard hat, some steel toe boots. That's this German team's identity right now.
It's not that complicated. It is, keep the ball alive on first contact and reception and in defense. Set good balls to the middle, because not only has Grozer had an unbelievable tournament, but Anton Brema looks like a top 10 middle in the world for sure.
So has Tobias Crick.
And honestly, kind of Crick has Crick
has been really good.
It's pretty crazy to say.
I don't know what people. Yeah, if I cover my mouth and it could be hearsay, but yeah, Crick has been very good.
Crick has actually been really good, shockingly enough. And so, like, set the ball to the middle. Johannes Thiel has done a really good job of that. And then, when in doubt, chuck the ball to 38-year-old Jürgi Grozer. Listen to some of these numbers. All right, this is Grozer at 38 years old through 4 matches in 5 days. For a 38-year-old opposite, 105 points, 6.5 points per set. 89 kills on 412 efficiency, 8 blocks and 8 aces. And honestly, even better, in a 24-hour window that included beating Italy 3-1 and Brazil 3-1 in Brazil. Less than 24 hours. 58 points in 2 matches. 7.25 points per set on 453 efficiency at age 38. Like, these numbers don't even make sense. They don't make sense for a guy of any age. And Everett, I'll take the L on this one. I texted you yesterday, right before that Germany-Italy game, saying, honestly, after that Brazil win, Germany should just play the bench here.
Absolutely.
I thought that Germany should have played the bench. Like, even with their starters, I didn't really like their chances to beat Italy. Give Grozer a break, then he would get 2 days off. You could ride him to the last 3 games and still probably get an Olympic bid from that. But boy, was I wrong.
Yeah. German team knows what's up, right? Because you have a schedule now where you have to play like Ukraine and like Qatar.
Yeah, they have
and
Ukraine,
you're
Qatar, and Czech Republic.
Yeah, you like the Czech Republic has been playing very good. Czechia has been fantastic. They've had some tough ones, but Germany has just really set themselves up now. And Rob, what's the craziest thing to me is, remember, we were back in Ottawa for VNL earlier this year, and Canada and Germany played, and it was, to be honest, a terrible game.
Terrible game.
It was a not fun. It was a not great game to watch. Even worse because I'm a Canadian fan and we lost that. And now 2 teams who were in the relegation race, and Germany would have been in the relegation race had they not been a core team. 2 teams who were basically in the relegation race for VNL are now like in a position where they could potentially qualify for the Olympics. That's absolutely nutty. But this German team, you know what? And it's funny because yesterday for the match against Italy, they won the first set, and I was like, okay. And to me, like, Italy always seems to lose the first set. They're very, very good at going out there, and they just do recon. And then they dominated the second, right? They were all over, and I was just kind of like, okay, this German team is coming back down to earth now. Italy is starting to wake up. But then they just popped off again. They play with a very... It's all based off of Grozier. Like, he's the point man, right?
Of
like
course.
he is the sledgehammer that brings cracks into everything, because he still has the power that he once has. Like, I remember watching Grozier for the first time this is aging us a little bit, the 2010 World Championships, 13 years ago.
That's how long the guy's been around.
Like, he has been around, 38 years old, man. Like, even then, he was still like, that was like he was 25 at that point.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even like, it wasn't even like he was a kid. Like, he was like a full on man, and he would just pound the ball,
dude.
But his touch now, along with, like, he still has the shoulder, is incredible. And it's funny, we talked to Arthur Schwartz back in West Virginia at the NORCECA Championships, and he talked about, man, I went to Monza this year. I was the backup opposite, and I just went up to Grozier and was just like, I want to know everything, like, teach me everything. And he says, like, he's one of the big reasons that Arthur Schwartz is probably the second best opposite so far in this tournament, is because of the number 1 opposite in this tournament so far in Grozier. He has been unreal. But also, I throughout this match, Rob, we were texting each other, and I really like the makeup of this German team.
For sure.
Once you back all of the pieces, once you have Grozier, who's the point man who can score points, Schott and Reichart are very, very serviceable on the left side. Bringing back Julian Zenger as libero just really settled their service. He was a huge hole for them throughout the majority of the summer.
Terrible in reception at VNL and stuff. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. And then you had to have Schott there because Gravin was basically still in diapers and couldn't handle it. But you know what? I do question the longevity of this German team. I think this has a short window, right?
Oh, for sure.
Maybe it really only goes until the end of the Olympics next year, if that. Because at what do you go to afterwards? But right now, Germany is looking absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I hope that Grozier gets to go to the Olympics. He single-handedly deserves it, and it is looking very much like right now that Germany will get there, because they're 4-0 and they have to play Ukraine, the Czech Republic, and Qatar. And even like that free win over Qatar that they're certainly going to get is that alone might get them to the Olympics because this pool is so ridiculous. Like you see the standings right there. Actually, Cuba right now is in second, but then you have Italy and Brazil also at 3-1. And
I thought.
Everett, we need to take a moment to talk about Brazil. It's like
so real quick, I just want to touch on Cuba, then we can. I thought Cuba's tournament was done when they lost to Germany. Like I thought it was over. Right in my head, I was like, you still have to play Italy, you still have to play Brazil. You've lost to Germany, but now like it's the team who's benefiting the most out of this is Cuba. I'd say. Sorry, I apologize for interrupting you.
Oh, okay, you're probably right about that. Like Cuba still does have to play Brazil and Italy, so those three teams, like the 2, 3, and 4 on your screen right now, are still going to have to play each other, and they're certainly going to beat each other up. I think everyone would agree that Italy is the favorite amongst those three, but we do need to talk about Brazil because we talked about it on our last show on Monday that they're a problem. They're clinging on by a thread, and that thread is snapping each of its individual fibers, and they are looking more and more fragile. Last night, they went to 5 with Ukraine, who didn't even start Ole Plotnitsky. They lost 38-36 in the first. They had to rescue it in 5. Their second outside hitter position is a black hole. They can never figure out which one of the Souza brothers are going to start at opposite on a given day. Lucas is like 50 years old, starting in the middle. Flavio can't help himself from committing like 50 net violations a game. Like, they're just not good. They're playing at home. They've beaten 2 inferior teams in 5. And when they get to the second half of this week and they have to play 2 really good teams, because we'll certainly talk about Iran and their problems. But Brazil's going to have to play Cuba and Italy, and I wouldn't pick them to win either of those games right now.
No, absolutely not. Bro, I don't even pick them to like play like Cuba. No, Cuba, Italy, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? They can barely beat Ukraine without Plotnitsky. They can barely beat Czechia. They got dummied by Germany. Like, this is not a good Brazilian team right now. And
no, it's not.
You're starting to see the cracks of it. And I've seen a lot of comments, whether it's on the Discord, whether it's on Twitter or whatever, but you're really seeing the issue of Brazil just riding this one generation for a while, right? When we think about back to the Brazil of the 2000s, right? That team was so good because when a young player was good and young, they brought him up. Right. You already had Dante and Giba, but they brought up Murillo.
Right.
You still had guys like Sidao and Visoto, and yet you still brought up Wallace. They brought in life to this roster. And recently, ever since Renan Del Zotto has taken over, it's just like, let's just run with the old guys. And none of the young guys have gotten any play ever. I think there's a massive look to it, just like the quality of athlete that this Brazil in general is creating. It's nowhere near what it used to be. Now, I think that's mainly due to probably political and socioeconomical situations within that country. But regardless, they just do not have the horses they once have.
No.
And it's starting to become increasingly obvious and apparent. And every other country is going out for blood. Every other country consensus, everyone else consensus, and they look across the net and they're like, Honorato?
Yeah, like this is a vulnerable team. That's really well said. Other teams right now, like I think we said it on the last show or maybe 2 shows ago. People used to be terrified of Brazil. Brazil used to be so scary, and now like any team that plays against them smells blood in the water. Even playing in the Maracanãzinho in Rio, and there are a lot of Brazilian fans calling for Renan Del Zotto's job, and I'm starting to agree with them.
Bro, I was on that train 8 months ago, like a while ago. This is brutal.
This is tough.
Right? For you to be able to, can you pronounce the stadium name again?
Maracanãzinho. Yeah.
Maracanãzinho. There we go. Thank you. That's a hollowed ground.
100%.
That's like I remember listening to Kevin Barnett on the net 5 years ago talking about how intimidating it is to go into the Maracanãzinho at 10 a.m. like they like to play volleyball games in Brazil.
They do really like to play the morning
and have
games.
to play against 10,000 yellow shirts. Bro, like I remember going to watch Brazil versus Canada in World 27 here in Canada in Mississauga, and we sold out 5,000 people, you would have thought we were in Brazil. There was a big ass sign in the corner, like people holding up a sign that Brazil belongs to Jesus. Do you think that's happening now? Jesus has forsaken them. He is gone. He has left the building because, man, there's no way that Brazil belongs to Jesus right now with this team that they're pulling up. This is just straight bad. And when you look at, like, I was trying to do the math real quick as we were talking, but you got me fired up. When you look at their plus minuses just from South American championships up until now, when you look at the South American championship, plus 0.3 for beating Peru, plus 1.42 for beating Chile, plus 0.5 for beating Colombia, minus 1068 for losing to Argentina. This is their biggest. This is their biggest plus so far. It's plus 243. Qatar, plus 0.01 for beating the Czechs, minus 1223 for losing to Germany. Brazil, there's no team in world volleyball right now that stock is falling as quickly as Brazil. And we've been talking about it for a while. I remember talking to some of the coaches from the U21 team at the Pan Am Cup last year, and they're worried, and rightly so. They're bad.
Yeah, rightly so. I mean, it's kind of a shame because the volleyball world is better when Brazil is really good, but they have nobody to blame but themselves. They have completely created this whole situation. So we'll talk about some of the matches in a little bit more detail. But yeah, Brazil is not looking good. The last kind of headline we need to talk about before we jump into some of the matches, we're going to skip over Pool B because thankfully for me, it's actually been pretty predictable in the last couple of days. The United States hasn't given me anything to lose my mind about.
Pool B is boring. Boo.
It's not boring is Pool C.
Bro.
Pool C continues to be ridiculous. Canada is on the rise, and the Netherlands. You just said that there's no team whose stock is dropping faster than Brazil. I disagree. The Netherlands. The Netherlands stock is dropping the fastest. They got 3-donged by both Belgium and Bulgaria in back-to-back days, and that is unimaginable for that particular team. But Canada, now with 3 matches remaining and with 3 relatively beatable opponents, has put themselves in. I'm trying my very best not to, but Canada pushed Poland to the limit. 17-15 in the 5th,
and in a good way,
right?
In a way that it probably won't happen again because Poland won't let it happen again, right? This wasn't necessarily a Poland really like not being there. Like Canada brought it, like we brought it to them. And I mean, I kind of think we should have won too, right? Just there's moments in that 5th set that we let get away from us. But ultimately, I think what this loss shows for Team Canada is that this isn't really a fluke, right? Everything that's been happening hasn't really been a fluke. It's been more a culmination of things coming together. I think one of the biggest factors is Eric Loeppky coming back. There's no doubt about it. He has been the top scoring Canadian throughout this tournament. Second top scoring Canadian. Mars leading the way. But yeah, this loss against Poland shows that, because it was a good loss. It shows that we are for real, and I love that. But that being said, like the standings are so close in this pool, anything can happen. Belgium is an absolute weapon of a team. Ferrer Riegers is the truth, as you've been calling him. He is the second highest scoring player in his tournament, Rob.
The kid is really good. He's really good.
83 points. 83 points. And then Sam Deroux is right behind him with 78. So those are some really, really good numbers by both of those players. And those 2 players worry the crap out of me. They really do. They really have me worried. I won't lie.
That's fair. Yeah, Belgium has been a real pleasant surprise this tournament. I don't even think they made it out of pools at Eurovolley. No. And they've completely turned it around. I have no idea how that happened, but I think we also have to talk about the Netherlands a little bit because they're a mess.
Piazza,
figure it out. Oh wait, before we talk about the Netherlands, you mentioned the rise of Eric Loeppky, and we talked about it on Monday. The 3 letters EFL. The man is hitting 521 efficiency on the tournament. 521 efficiency on the tournament, 3.8 points per set, which is a good number for an outside hitter, but 521 efficiency through 4 matches on the tournament against great teams. Now,
Yeah.
Canada did 3-dong China, and Loeppky went like 17 for 22 or something completely insane. So
yeah, 17 for 22 is exactly
so
exactly what he did against China.
certainly helped. But like even against the really good teams, Netherlands, Argentina, Poland, Eric Loeppky has been absolutely spectacular. And the way he's been doing it, like the difficult balls that he's finding a way to kill. There was one, I think it was in the Poland game, where he dug a ball and like in the middle of the court, position 3, had literally no approach, jumped straight up and ripped it cross court to the position 4 sideline. Like he's hitting shots that don't even make sense. And it must be it's nice to watch for me. It must be even better to watch for a Canadian.
Bro, it's so much fun watching this because now the rest of the world is getting to see just how damn good Eric Loeppky is.
He's amazing.
And I mean, I won't lie. There was a moment in time there after last year's ENL, after last year's World Championship, before the season started getting going, where I was worried for Eric Loeppky, right? The way he played in that match last year in the World Championships against Italy, when he had to get subbed out and pulled off. And I was like, dude, we just may see one of our best players who ever played U Sports ever to come out of Canada be a bust. And he's turned things around immensely. And the way he's doing it, the Loeppky lefty has come out to play. We've seen that. The swing on the right, tip over on the left has been beautiful. But he's just playing his game. And I think for so long, there was so many of these comparisons between TJ DeFalco and Eric Loeppky. They're coming up pretty much at the same time, both for, the best institutions. And I think there was a while there where, DeFalco really skyrocketed away. And I think Loeppky is starting to come back right now. And I think Loeppky, and there's no competition between the two. I'm not, we don't need any Swifties out here going team, team Eric or team TJ. We love them both. Okay.
I think we kind of do need that. I think we might need to fuel that fire a little bit. That might be fun.
Hey, no, we are not fueling that fire. Other people around us, because we are fueling that fire. But just to see him have this success and to have the impact that I know he could have, and I've always known he could have, is just phenomenal. And I couldn't be happier. He has really made a difference on this team, and it's really invigorated guys like Stephen Marr.
Totally.
It really, really has. I have a question for you, Rob, before we jump into the Netherlands. What is more impressive so far? Is it Germany or is it Canada? I'm asking you first, and I'll give you my biased answer afterwards.
More impressive. I mean, it has to be Germany. The teams that they've beaten and how, like, to beat Brazil in Brazil, even though this Brazilian team isn't as good, but that Italy win less than 24 hours later. And like somebody said in the chat earlier, that not only are Grozer's numbers like absolutely off the charts, but like just when you watch the guy, he is demolishing the ball.
He's dialed in. He's dialed in.
He is punishing the ball. He hit a ball on the left side yesterday against Italy, like inside 2 blockers, just like to like 12 feet, straight cross court, straight down. I swore the ball was going to explode on contact, and then he just lands and just like he just flexes and like mean mugs everyone on his team. Like he is such a monster. And Canada is playing more. I think that Canada is playing more complete volleyball than Germany is, but this is the most single-handedly dominant opposite performance we've seen in the men's game in like a decade. This just doesn't really happen on the men's side anymore, like the way it does on the women's.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Like except for maybe Namir when he can catch fire and drop 30 and carry teams to, like some of his Dutch teams to win single-handedly. But like we don't see this that much on the men's side, especially not from a guy who's 38, from a team who has been invisible all summer to beat 2 really good opponents in less than 24 hours. Like that just blows my mind. I can't say enough about how stunning that this week from Germany has been. So that really has been the biggest storyline, but that's not to diminish anything that Canada has been doing, because Canada's turnaround has been just as ridiculous, and they're doing it in such a complete way. I think that all the credit in the world needs to go to Tuomas Samelvoe and to Luke Herr. Those two guys, and really Samelvoe for having the confidence in Luke Herr and for really gambling on him and having that gamble completely.
But to him, it wasn't a gamble.
Not at all.
Right?
He saw it.
When you're Samelvoe and you come into Team Canada's gym and you look at the roster where some of our guys are playing, it's a wash, right? Like Epp was at set, Blankino was at Tourcoing, Walsh was at PAOK. None of those guys are setting for like exceptionally good programs. And then Luke Herr was also in Greece this past year, and for Crete too. So like on paper, they're all pros. Like they're all playing, and he just comes in and he has no notion of like the depth chart of like what's happening in youth sports ball and in any of that. But going back to my question here, Rob, I do think that in Germany's case, you're getting better through addition. You're adding guys like Grosier. You're adding guys like Zenger. You know, you're adding key pieces to the roster. You're getting guys like you're getting shot back from injury, things like that. Canada lost their top scorer from Nations League, one of their top scorers from Nations League, in Ryan Sclater leading into this tournament, right? That is a huge blow.
I don't think it is.
I mean, ultimately not. But on paper, like coming into it, you're telling me you're losing one of our, like, we were losing one of our top scorers. Like, how is that on paper like not?
I
fully agree with you that Arthur Schwartz needs, like, we've talked about it for a while now. We've talked about it since Ottawa that, hey, let's just. Hey, that's in the stable.
That's why it's a good thing. So I know that you love Canada. I know they have been impressive, and I agree with the point that they have just gotten better with the guys that they already had. But losing Ryan Slater and now having Arthur Schwartz be the guy is a good thing. 100%. It's not debatable.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at it, like if you look through this, like who's a better team, Poland or Italy?
Poland for sure. But you didn't
Poland.
win. You lost, unfortunately.
Barely. That's the only difference.
Germany
there.
won in 4. They got full points. They got 3 points. Yeah. You got 1. Like that's
I thought, to be honest, that game was going to go to 5.
Well,
actually, no.
Honestly, it kind of should have. Like, I mean, Germany was up like 22-15 and thought that like they already had the champagne bottles popped, and then all of a sudden Italy made a huge comeback. But
yeah.
Yes,
all I'm saying is
yes, Canada looks very good, and you have a lot to be proud of. But before we jump into some of the matches, we have to talk about the Netherlands. We have to talk about how bad this team has been. They have lost 25 world ranking points in the last 2 days. That is unthinkable. I think the 2 single biggest upsets in terms of world ranking magnitude have been the Netherlands getting swept by Belgium, their direct neighbor and huge rival, and then getting swept by Bulgaria with a 16-year-old setter. What are we doing? And Namir Abdelaziz in those 2 games has been bad. Straight up bad. He's made, against Belgium, 14 points, 12 for 25 attacking, 8 errors, 160 efficiency. Against Bulgaria, 16 points, 13 for 33 attacking, 8 errors, 152 efficiency. And he's served like trash. And his body language is not good, and you kind of have to put a lot of the blame on the Netherlands being bad on Namir. Just because if he's going to be the guy that you praise when the Netherlands wins, which he is usually for good reason, then he has to be the first guy that you look to when the Netherlands loses. I think that's more than fair.
Yep, I would agree. I also need to start looking at Piazza too, in my opinion, and just like how many different left sides has this team used, right? And there's just no consistency. You Van Garderen, Tweenstra,
and Jorna, and we've seen Ter Horst, and he is just the worst. One of my least favorite players ever. So I'm always annoyed when he gets subbed in, but I don't think that's it. I think that this is completely on Namir, and I'm not saying it's not completely on Namir's production, even though Namir's production has not been good in those 2 matches that they lost. It's Namir being who he is, Namir being such an alpha and demanding every ball. And I think that there's a part of Namir that even when his teammates score points, he's still a little bit upset deep down inside that he didn't get that ball. Namir wants every ball. Namir wants to start every game. I mean, we've seen Wouter Termat come in on the left side in both of those last 2 matches in desperation mode, and he's looked like trash because he's not a left side. He's an outstanding opposite when he's given the reins. If it is Namir who actually calls the shots on this team, it's not Piazza, because if it was Piazza, then if Piazza had the balls to actually sit Namir, to fully say, like, Namir, you are going to sit this entire match for the good of this team and for the good of this tournament, you are going to take a match off. Wouter Termat is going to start at opposite. This is his game. If Piazza had the ability to do that, I think the Netherlands would be better off, but he does not have the ability to do that because it is Namir that calls the shots on this team. This is Namir's team. He is an alpha. He is the guy. And they're going to ride or die with him. He is going to demand that Vessel Keeming set him the ball every time after point 20. And right now it is costing the Netherlands. Namir is hurting his team right now, not because of his production, although had not been good. It's because of the role that he insists that he play on this team and the role that he imparts on this team, for better or for worse. And it is Namir, not Piazza, that calls the shots on this team. That's my take.
It's pretty hard to disagree with that. You're not gonna lie, and like maybe I just think higher of Namir than that, and it's so weird because when we talked to the Netherlands in Ottawa week 1, they were having a good week 1, and we saw fantastic. Like Martin van Garderen had more points in one match than he's had so far. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but it seems like it. The fact that they have a guy like Wouter Termat on the bench who is a bona fide
Everett,
who is a legitimate scorer. He is an elite level scorer in this game in the world. We have seen it. There is a reason that Bank beat Halkbank in the finals.
Yeah, Termat beat Namir head to head in the Turkish
Termat
League.
has beaten Namir head to head.
Yeah,
and yet
many
he has
times.
never. I cannot think of one time he has ever been the guy for the Netherlands.
Never.
Just because he's never been put in that spot. Never ever once, which is an issue. Which absolutely is an issue. You're right. But we are seeing I think what I'm going to say here is going to lead into another conversation, Rob. But the Netherlands now, I don't think they have any shot of qualifying here.
No,
because they have dropped down from 10th to 13th. So not only are they moving out of that range to get those 5 spots extra, but because of teams like Canada and Germany who are not in the top 10 who might be grabbing these Olympic spots, that those 5 spots become way different. Way different. And so those teams at the cusp, like the Cubas, are maybe going to be sitting on the outside looking in because of teams like Canada and Germany right now who are really changing things up. But these past 2 games has settled the fate for the Netherlands in this tournament, and they are not going to the Olympics next year. Like, their Olympic dream is done.
Certainly in this tournament, their Olympic dream is 100% dead. I mean, they have 3 losses. They have absolutely no chance. But in the bigger picture, their world ranking now down to 13. It now between 14 and 10 is separated by 15 points. So if the Netherlands can figure it out next summer's VNL, I would say their Olympic dream is not dead.
But I don't think 10 is going to get you into the Olympics now.
I think it would. I think 10 would, and even Serbia at 9, they've got like a 30-point cushion. But the Netherlands aren't dead. They're dying. They are dying. They have really put themselves in a bad position. And this week it's not going to get any easier for them because they're about to play Poland and Argentina, and they're probably going to lose even more points to those two teams. Now they'll get a free win versus China, but they're going to continue to drop. And honestly, they would be lower than 13 if it weren't for another team who's also been struggling mightily. Iran.
They're about to get even worse. They're about to get even worse too, Rob.
Iran is dropping at a rate similar to the Netherlands. Iran is at 14. They are dropping off a cliff, and they have been so bad this week that Behruz Atayi has resigned as the head coach of Iran in the middle of the tournament.
Never heard of this. This is nuts. This is crazy. Middle of the tournament. You know who we need? We need to call up Key Michael right now. Because if there's anyone who knows what's going on with Iran, it's Key Mike. I heard her give you a nice little shout out on her broadcast yesterday too in the Netherlands match.
She's in China. She's not in Brazil, which is where Iran is. Which is too bad because we know how the Iranian fans love her. Have you ever heard of anything like this?
Never. Not once. Right,
it's sad.
Even when like Cuba's players voted to get Vives off the team in the middle of Nations League, they wouldn't even do that.
Like month, yeah,
they wouldn't even do that.
And they have 3 days left in the entire summer. Like just like tell the guys like, yeah, this is it for me. I'm gonna be here these 3 more days. Do whatever you want, and then we'll go home, and then I'll step away. He couldn't even do that,
bro. He rage quit.
He rage quit.
31 in the chat just said he rage quit.
He actually rage quit.
I want to know where his outbound flight. Like, is he flying back to Tehran or is he just in the country?
Just go to
just go to Fiji or something.
Yeah, fly to New Zealand and hang out for a couple weeks. And
Guatemala, I heard it's really cheap there. It's really nice.
Goodness, and it's sad too because the golden generation of Iran, when Maruf was setting that team, was one of my very favorite teams to watch in the world. Mm-hmm. They were an absolute treat. They went to the Olympics. I think twice they went to the Olympics, but definitely in Tokyo, and I'm pretty sure they were there in Rio as well. And
they definitely were in Rio as well.
That like Iranian volleyball was in position to be a mainstay because their youth pipeline has been so good.
But their youth pipeline is still good.
It is still
winning.
Good.
They're still winning tournaments, and they're still creating guys. There's just issues with the national team right now.
Right.
Does Iran need Piazza?
Oh my God. I could only imagine Piazza on the sidelines with that team. But like it's been sad to see Iran the last 2 years. Like they were okay in Paris. Now, not in Paris, in Tokyo. They beat Poland. They upset Poland, but then they ended up not making it out of pools because I think they lost to Japan late, and ended up finishing 5th. But since then, the way that they've organized the transition from their very good youth teams to the senior team, it's been a disaster. This year at VNL, I mean, they made the playoffs at VNL last year because Amin came out of nowhere and was really good. He's completely dropped off a cliff. They don't have a setter. They don't really have outside hitters. They don't have middles. They don't really have anybody. The more so than they don't have any players is they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan right now. And now they don't have even more of a plan because the guy that they thought was going to be the engineer of the transition has just rage quit the team in the middle of an Olympic qualifier.
And this is a dude who has been like, I'm looking through his volleybox right now. He is Iranian volleyball through and through. He started playing in the leagues in '88. In 2009, he started being an assistant coach for the national team. He has coached U17 teams. He led the U21 program from 2016 to 2021 in that big youth movement of when they were winning things, and then took over this roster in 2021. Like, this is a dude. Like, this isn't a dude who was just brought in to like this isn't a diva hire who's being like, oh no, good enough.
Definitely not.
This is a dude who, like, this, like, to me, this would be the equivalent of like if Dan Lewis was coaching this team and left in the middle of the tournament. This is a dude who has his boots on the ground, who probably has mud up to his neck in things he has seen and done for Iranian volleyball. So for him to leave in the middle of this is absolutely bonkers. And I wish if there's someone out there who's an insider or what, like, give us the tea. Give us the tea. Let's have some crumpets. Have a nice little tea time because I want to hear it. Because you know it's spicy. You know it's good.
Yeah, if anybody knows anything going on inside this Iranian program, please let us know, because I've never ever seen anything like a coach resigning in the middle of a tournament. So
Mid-tournament. He's got 3
mid-tournament,
games left.
it's absolutely ridiculous. So let's talk about some of these matches. Let's dive in here. I mean, we can quickly talk about Iran losing to the Czech Republic. This ended up being the final straw for Coach Atayi. This was their last game before he walked away. I mean, Iran beat Qatar on day 3, obviously, and then they lost to the Czech Republic. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about any of this statistically, but if you're Iran and you've been to 2 straight Olympics, and then all of a sudden you're like not really putting up a fight at all against the Czech Republic. I mean, you lost 17-22 the first 2 sets, and like that's kind of it. Then you're obviously a non-factor in the Olympic picture. In this pool, you have no chance. In the world rankings, you have no chance. You're getting like convincingly beaten by the Czech Republic. That is just, it's just really, really a disappointing fall from where they've been the last few years.
Yeah, it's sad.
It is.
It
Sad.
really is. It's the volleyball world was better when Iran was good, because they brought a style that was similar. Like, it was similar to Argentina, and it makes so much sense because Velasco was their guy to come in and really turn them around.
And they had a setter,
of
that caliber.
And they had a setter of that caliber in Maruf, right? They were similar to Argentina. They just brought a different fire and a passion to it. I always loved watching Iran. And I still think I'm going to. Like, I still think that this is a team that's going to be able to figure it out. And this is a program that's going to be able to figure it out because of what we've seen from them and the talent they've been creating on the youth level. But, man, something is happening right now. There's issues in that locker room. No one knows what's going on because they're all just fighting in mercy on the sidelines.
It's tough. It is tough to watch, and when you're losing to Jan Hadrava, you've really got to look yourself in the mirror real closely.
One day you're going to meet Hadrava, and I look forward to that day. I look forward to that day.
I hear Hadrava is a great guy. I have nothing against the guy. I just don't like the player. All right, let's talk about these 2 Germany games, because these have been 2 of the craziest matches I've seen all summer. So Germany goes into Brazil. They beat Brazil in Rio. They lose the first set. They respond by honestly kind of destroying them. 25-19, 25-19, then 28-26 in the fourth. Why does Brazil keep rolling out this Adriano kid at outside hitter? He is.
Who else they got? Bergman?
Complete waste of space. Honorato is at least like a good receiver and usually makes good choices. Adriano is out here getting housed by a 6'0" guy in Johannes Tila, and then going straight back to the bench, who he's a full foot taller than. Like, I don't want to see that guy get subbed in anymore. Figure out which Souza brother you're going to play. Somehow coach Flavio not to touch the net 15 times a game. And then just how do you stop Grozer? How do you stop this man?
Does Flavio touch the net as much for Perugia as he does? Like, it was like there was like 6 or 7 in the
it's insane how many net violations he commits.
Exhibition match, it's fine. Nope. VNL does it too. Nope. World Olympic Qualifiers does it too. Just complete disregard for the net. Completely and utterly.
I don't understand how it's possible to be an Olympic level middle blocker and commit that many net violations. It just doesn't make sense to me. But
I mean you know how I feel about net violations. Worst call in volleyball. But I digress.
So Grozer in this one, unbelievable at age 38, 27 points, 22 for 43 attacking, 40% efficiency, 2 blocks and 3 aces. He is missing a lot of serves, but that's okay. He's your green light guy. You've got to let him go after it. You got to let him go after it
all day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's okay.
Long. If he's going to bang balls like this, you can miss as many serves as you want.
100%. And I agree with MA in the chat. It should have been 3-0 because the officiating in the first set was a problem. It was a problem. There were 2 horrific calls that both went Brazil's way. That if you're like me and you're a big NFL football fan and you watch a team like the Kansas City Chiefs the other night on Sunday night get some overwhelmingly favorable calls that didn't make sense and only
Swift, baby. You cannot fight against that.
You could argue that because the Chiefs have Taylor Swift on their side and they're the reigning Super Bowl champions, that they get calls that other teams don't. You could argue the same thing for Brazil here, because the officiating in the first set at home in Brazil was a problem, and Germany was able to withstand that. and they came back and won the match in 4 for full points.
Two things here. First and foremost, I think the officiating in this tournament has been really bad. There has been a lot of terrible calls. There was one the other day in was it the Cuba-Germany match where Cuba's players like reached over and blocked the set?
That was terrible.
And it
Marlon
wasn't
Yant was
called
like a full meter over the net.
Was a full and nothing was called as well. But
Awful.
Also, real talk though, Max Holt is like basically one of the few single guys on Team USA. Can we not get him slotted in with Taylor Swift? He plays guitar. He's a thoughtful man. He's tall. He's blonde. He's beautiful. Like if Taylor Swift is out there on the market for athletes, we need to get her to volleyball. And Max Holt, I think, is the guy to do it. He did say that he was single in your interview with him earlier this year.
He did.
I'm just saying, hey Taylor, he's tall. He can play guitar. He lives in Italy. Or wait, no, doesn't anymore. He technically lives in China. But why not? Why not? Right?
I like
you know.
It. I'm here for it.
Imagine how much publicity volleyball would get if Taylor Swift. Imagine if Taylor Swift had shown up to West Virginia.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You
Sorry,
can't even
but
imagine.
yeah, the reffing in this tournament has been brutal, and I honestly, truly think when we were in Ottawa, Rob, for VNL, we found out that the in-out system that the referee sees and the in-out system that we, the viewers, sees is two different things.
Right.
I think there's issues with that. There is balls that have looked in that have been called, but there's been balls that have called out that have looked in. Something needs to be done because things have been bad.
Yeah, it's been bad. And then when it's kind of even the same thing as early VNL, when like in Ottawa, it was an absolute nightmare when a challenge would be called. It would take a good 10 minutes to even get the right replay up on the screen and make a decision from it.
That was Two Jacks's fault. We know.
Of course, it was Two Jacks's fault, 100%. But like even now at Olympic qualifier time, it's been the same system. They have had a chance to figure it out, and they still can't. They still can't show the right replays. It's still very awkward, and it disrupts the flow of a game when a challenge is called. So that sucks. But I mean, we already talked about Germany for the most part, and we already talked about Brazil for the most part. But now we should talk about some of the statistics from Germany versus Italy. I cannot overstate how insane it is for a 38-year-old, less than 24 hours after carrying a team to beating Brazil, to play even better against Italy. 31 points. 27 for 43 at 51% efficiency. Like it doesn't make sense for Grozer to do this. It does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. 31 point, like, what is it, like 58 points in 24 hours? What are we talking about? Like that's absolutely astonishing. And to beat Italy, and to beat Italy, who's I still think the best blocking team in the world, and to just not have an answer for this guy, I don't even know what to say. Like they see him all year. They play against Grozer and Monza all year long, and they just cannot stop the guy.
I think Grozer is one of those monsters and one of those animals, and this has been the Grozer show. You're welcome. You're welcome, Georgie. You're welcome. He's just one of those animals that can just up it to another level. Like, do you think he's going to be serviceable at all for Arcus this year? Absolutely not. He just gave a year's worth of quality to this one tournament, and you know what? He doesn't care. I do just think that right now, the way Germany is playing is like a sledgehammer. And that's the best way to beat Italy, right? They are a tough nut to crack, and you need to beat them with a sledgehammer. And that's the way they do it. And I mean, the numbers around him aren't terrible. Brema with 12. I think Brema really is. We had someone right in the chat here that Brema is a top 10 medal. There's no doubt about it.
I agree. This really good.
This dude has been outstanding. They're also passing really well. Like Reichart has been unreal. 65% positive, 39% perfect, 41 and 28 for Zenger. I don't know why they're not going. I guess Schott is a pretty good passer as well, but they're going after Zenger the most. And I think that's just how much of the court he's taking.
Yeah, and Zenger is a better defender than he is a receiver, but I agree giving Reichart a ton of credit. Like 65 and 39 are excellent passing numbers.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just, I think it's tough for a team like Italy, like Poland, like these big teams that are solidly in like the top 6 to really get up for these games, because
That's a great point. Italy
because
is going to qualify, obviously.
Italy's going to
And
qualify.
Poland.
Brazil's going to qualify. Argentina's going to qualify. Poland's going to qualify. That's why this tournament has been so crazy, Rob, because there's teams like Germany, like Canada, who see this and be like, this is our only opportunity
This is
to
it.
qualify.
Yeah.
This is it right now. And then you've got all these big teams who in the back of their head, they're like, I don't care. I'm already going. I'm going to be there anyways. Right? Right? Why would I go hard for 7 matches in 9 days when on the doorstep of a close season that everyone knows is just getting longer and harder? Why am I going to go hard when I know at the end of the day I could lose every single match? Okay, maybe not, because then you would lose probably enough ranking points. Like if you lose to Qatar, then you're probably dropping like 20 points. But I could lose most of these matches and still go to the show. So
Right. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. The Italy's, the Polands. I mean, those two teams also did play much, much longer into Eurovolley than a team like Germany did. So sure, like people in the chat are saying, yeah, the best teams are the most tired because they've played the most this summer. This has been an extremely long summer. There is too much volleyball. Obviously, we've been very clear on that issue in the past, and it's not certainly not getting any easier for the players who we fully support and how much volleyball they have to play. But I agree. A team like teams like Germany and Canada that know that this is their only chance, probably their only chance to go to the Olympics. That's why we're seeing the results that we're seeing, because there is a different mental approach to these games than there is for the teams that, exactly like you said, in the back of their head, they know that there's a security blanket there that a team like Germany
100%.
and Canada just doesn't have.
100%, right? And that's why we've seen so much fun stuff. Like I absolutely love it.
It's been just wonderful for fans to watch this week. It's been more fun than I've had watching volleyball in years. Last match to talk about in Pool A is, I mean, this could have been another absolutely like seismic level upset. 38-36 in the first, Ukraine over Brazil. Brazil does end up prevailing in 5, but Ole Plotnitsky barely even played in this game. He came off the bench to serve and pass a little bit and had 2 aces because he's a monster. But who out of absolutely nowhere, who is Timofey Polian?
No idea.
Excuse me. One of their backup outside hitters, 18 for 25 at 68% efficiency out of the clouds. What is that?
The efficiency for in this one for me is like, obviously I didn't watch it. I was at work last night. 42% efficiency for Ukraine in this one. 39
as a team. That's amazing
for Brazil
without their best player.
Without their best player. It really, like, when you look at this Ukrainian roster and who's why am I blanking on his name? Who's that monster middle who plays in Poland who I absolutely love?
Yuri Glader.
Yeah. Man, if you had Glader on this team too, like that dude's an emotional monster. Woo! Woo!
Or if, if you had Pashitsky as well, who played in Zaksa last year. He was born in Ukraine. I mean, I like Ukraine. I also really like the way that they're kind of attacking their program right now, because they lost in Challenger Cup to Turkey earlier this year, and I actually think that was kind of a good thing. I think they're still another year or two away from being a VNL team, but they are right on the doorstep, and they're putting themselves in positions to beat really good teams in the big tournaments that they do play. And it's a team you got to watch out for, especially because now they've got a team. They've got Barkom Lviv playing in the Plus Liga, which is really cool. So they've got a nice pipeline for some Ukrainian-born players to play in one of the best leagues in the world. So I do like Ukraine a lot. I love Plotnitsky, even though he didn't play in this game. But like Brazil, come on, man. If you're playing against Ukraine at home and Ukraine is choosing not to play their best player, you need to be the Brazil of old, find that killer instinct and step on their throats. And they have just been completely unable to do that. They just can't figure out who to play. They can't figure out where their production is going to come from. Their outside hitter position outside of Lucarelli is a complete problem. They are floundering. Flavio is swimming in the net, and they just can't figure it out. Hypothetical, Brazil's outside gets injured. Lucas Bergman or Julia Bergman? It's obviously Julia Bergman. It's not even close. What kind of a question is that?
On a men's height,
Sure.
I'd still pick Julia.
I would too.
I watched Little Bergman do funny things last summer. I almost wish there's a few funny errors from him at the Pan Am Cup that were truly just like, What's going on right now?
Flavio did have 7 blocks in this game, so I got to give him credit for that. That's a big number.
Yeah, but how many times he touched the net?
Probably about the same number.
I want
yeah.
blocking efficiency numbers from Flavio out here.
Also, is this number real? Is this a real number, or is this a mistake? Did Ukraine really miss 32 serves?
No, it looks real to me.
Oh my goodness. That might be the most I've ever seen.
Brazil only missing
32? 32 serves. That might be the most service errors I've ever seen in my life. So that's rough. And if Ukraine, they did play basically 6 sets worth of volleyball with that overtime in the first, but still, like, 32 service errors is completely unacceptable. So that's Group A. This is insane. Let's talk about what's coming up in Group A. Cuba, Italy, and Brazil are going to play each other, along with Ukraine. So those top 4 seeded teams are all going to play each other these next couple of days. Germany has a golden path laid out in front of them. They already have the match advantage being undefeated, and they have an easier road the rest of the way. They have Czech Republic, Ukraine, and Qatar. It's Cuba, Italy, Brazil, and Iran that are all going to play each other. That's my mistake. And you got to think that Iran, with their coach having just walked away in the middle of a tournament, you've got to think they're going to go 0-3. So
unless you do see this sometimes when a coach leaves, and if he's the problem, like if he's one of the problems in the room, then he leaves, and like maybe they go off.
That's true, but I don't see him being the problem. I see like him being just like
fed up,
fed up, and an unfortunate casualty of a bad situation. So yeah, we get like Brazil, Cuba Friday, which is going to be awesome. We get Italy, Cuba Saturday, and then we get Brazil, Italy Sunday. Like, those are going to be absolute must-see games.
Who does Cuba finish it off against?
Iran. Cuba has the easiest match last.
Okay,
but like you would have to think that Cuba, Italy, and Brazil will all beat Iran. And then
at this point, yes.
It comes down to, it's basically a 3-team round robin. Which of those teams can go 2-0 and get the last Olympic bid? I mean, I have to pick Italy, and I would think that now Brazil is going to miss out. But like you said, Brazil and Italy both have the best chance to just fall back on their world ranking next year, and Cuba has probably the most motivation to play the rest of this week. So I don't know how this is going to go.
As I've said, I think Cuba's going to beat Brazil.
Okay.
I think that's going to happen. No, I think the interesting one for me in this pool is Cuba versus Italy. Because as I said earlier in the show, Rob, you need to be a nutcracker to be able to crack the shell of Italy. If there's one team that can apply brute force and can really get themselves up in a one-match scenario, it's Cuba. Do they have Brazil or Italy first?
Cuba has Brazil first.
Great. Perfect. Because if they can get up emotionally against Brazil. We've seen it this summer.
Oh, definitely.
Right? At home.
Beat them this summer.
And then they know too, if they beat Brazil, all they have to do is beat Italy. And I think that is a winnable match for them. Not only does the majority of your team play in Italy, and there's a high level of familiarity between your players and their players, but they are a team that once they get onto the baseline, if Herrera and Lopez and Yant and Concepcion, sometimes with the serve, and I love watching Concepcion. Dude's such a homie.
He's awesome.
I love when he's happy. Just love it.
Yep.
He's grown for me so much over the years. But if that team can start pinning balls from the baseline and playing the game the type of game we know we can play, that is a 50-50 game. I think it really could be, especially with the way that Italy's playing right now.
So I think that those 3 teams are going to beat each other in a triangle. I think that Cuba is going to beat Brazil, Italy is going to beat Cuba, and Brazil is going to beat Italy on the last day. That's what I think. I think that Cuba is going to beat Brazil because it's going to be similar to what we saw earlier this summer. That Cuba has the confidence, Brazil is on their heels. I think that Italy will beat Cuba because Italy will have like 25 stuff blocks. I think Italy's block against Cuba is going to be a huge advantage for them. And then I think Brazil versus Italy on the last day will just be it'll be a Brazilian home crowd game. It'll be a Brazil with like
every game's been a Brazilian home crowd game.
Right. No, it hasn't. But Brazil there will be a mindset change for Brazil going into that last match, I think, and they're going to somehow figure it out and pull out a win against Italy. So After that, I have no idea how the tiebreakers would go, but this is going to come down to the wire. Obviously, and then I think that Germany is going to go undefeated at this point. I honestly do.
They're going to put Lucas Massa on the right side and still win.
I think that they honestly should against Qatar. Either put Massa or Karwitzek on the right against Qatar. Let Grozer beat Czechia and Ukraine. You need him to win those 2 games. Qatar is a free one, and Germany's going to
those are 2 tough games. 2
definitely.
Real tough games.
This pool from 1 through 7 is really, really good. Really good.
And I mean, neither of those teams neither of those teams are out of the consideration, they're not going to qualify.
Right.
But points would matter massively for them.
Yes,
and it would be a big jump in points for both.
And now that Germany is all the way up to 10th, you have Ukraine in 16th and Czechia in 21st in the world. With Germany's world ranking increasing, so would the points hypothetically if you were to beat them. So yeah, definitely a lot to play for Czechia and Ukraine. But Germany's in. They're in. They're going to the Olympics. I'm willing to call it right now. It's unbelievable. I would have never thought that at the beginning of this.
I'm much more willing to call it for Germany than for Canada.
I agree. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for Germany. They're in. But yeah, I think that Cuba, Italy, and Brazil will beat each other in a triangle, like I said. So we'll see.
All right.
Is anything else about Pool A, or you want to take a quick break before we jump into Pool B?
Yeah, let's just take a quick break. We'll dip our toes into Pool B because Pool B is boring.
Agreed.
I have not watched the USA play once this tournament.
Haven't missed much. But before we talk about that, tell the people, Everett, about that volleyball.store. You got the 9x9 squared shirt on.
We're in.
Is that the crew neck?
That's the crew neck.
It's
a little chilly here. It's been warm here in Toronto. I woke up, it was a little chilly this morning, went for a nice little walk, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw this on before the show. So if you want to look this good, people were complimenting me out in the streets. Then again, given some of the dodgy streets I live around, you don't know if you want that. But head over to that volleyball.store, use the code SPICY to get 15% off all of our merch.
Go check it out.
Yeah.
That 9x9 squared logo is real nice. And then, so before we talk about our favorite segment, great viewership. We appreciate you guys watching. It's been real great Olympic qualifier season. Our channel's doing really well lately. Give the video a thumbs up. We need you to give the video a thumbs up. We need you to do that. We need you to subscribe to this channel. We have for everybody that watches this show, this is what our channel does. And so somehow there's a good percentage of you that aren't subscribed to Volleyball Source. I don't understand that at all. So just do that. It's free. Why haven't you done that? It doesn't make sense to me. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and join the Volleyball Source Discord. The link's in the description for that. Best online volleyball chat community in the world. And
hands down, we're so close to 30,000 people, guys.
It's insane.
On Volleyball Source here.
3,000 people. Oh, 30,000 subscribers, you mean?
Subscribers, yes.
I thought you meant in the Discord. I'm like, oh my God.
No, the Discord were around 1,600, I think.
It's pretty nice.
It's pretty nice.
And it is in that Discord that several amazing memes and inside jokes are born, and none greater than Daddy Stankovic. It's time to talk about Where's Daddy. So as in every episode of the 9x9, Daddy Stankovic is hidden somewhere. And if you find Daddy Stankovic and you comment where he is on the timestamp, and a timestamp after the YouTube live stream is over, if you comment where he is in the main YouTube comment section, you get a shout out on next week's show if you find Daddy Stankovic. So on Monday, as we were talking about Olympic qualifiers, when I go through and make all these assets, and I look at all the teams' photos of their celebrations and after they win matches. And there was this one from Brazil after they survived a scare from the Czech Republic. And if you can see, kind of on the left side of the screen there, actually, I'll put it full screen. You can see it a little bit better. There is the coach, really lurking in the background, hiding just over another one of the coach's shoulders. And I'm like, that
looking for Delgado's job.
Yeah.
There.
It's really, really lurking in the background there. I'm like, that looks like a great place to hide Daddy Stankovic. So if you can see, really just over the shoulder of one of the Brazilian coaches there's Daddy Stankovic. So a couple people found him right away. Our friend John Lau found him first, and then this guy Devon Sales Parno also found Daddy. So good job, you two. You found Daddy Stankovic. If you find Daddy in this episode, maybe he's already shown up. Maybe he will show up in the second half of the show. Make sure you comment in the main YouTube comment section where Daddy is, and you'll get a shout out on next show, which we'll probably do on Monday after Olympic bids are handed out. So keep an eye out.
Love it. I think we need to put Where's Daddy on a shirt.
I would wear that every day of my life if we had Daddy Stankovic on a shirt. All right, let's talk about Pool B really quickly. There isn't much going on. Fortunately for me, I haven't had to worry that much about this pool. We already talked about the chaos of Japan somehow losing to Egypt on the first 2 days, but everything has gone pretty much as expected. Japan, Serbia, Slovenia, and the United States have all gone 2-0 since then. They have all beaten up on Finland, Tunisia, Egypt, and Turkey, kind of in that order. I mean, Japan hasn't dropped a set. Slovenia dropped maybe one or two. So there are only two matches to talk about even a little bit here. We'll talk about the United States against Turkey because this did get a little bit spicy. It ended up going 32-30 in the third. The U.S. was up 24-19 and completely blew it on the doorstep. Like, we completely fell asleep and allowed Turkey to come all the way back. And honestly, we should have lost this set. There was like a miraculous net touch call. Turkey had touched the net and gifted us a point where they would have won the set in overtime, and we ended up getting it done. So and then we did play much better in the fourth set, fortunately. But there were red cards handed out here. There was like a little bit of a scuffle situation as the teams were changing sides. After that third set, David Smith was out there throwing duffel bags because Turkey, for some reason, was like, they weren't bringing their stuff back and forth from bench to bench between sets, which everybody does. So that was a little weird. But it got a little chippy, got a little heated, got a little spicy. I like it. I think volleyball needs more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also saying that because my team ended up winning the match, so that was good. But yeah, this is the only USA game I really have watched. I did stay up super late that night and I watched this, and I was glad I did because it ended up being pretty entertaining. I am a little bit concerned about Matt Anderson. He was not good here. Not good. 8% efficiency, 7 for 25. Little bit worried. Just a little bit worried.
I've been worried for Matt Anderson kind of all summer. And he just doesn't, he's a little bit older, of course. So he just doesn't have the pop that he used to. Luckily for this US team, he doesn't need to be the guy.
Right.
He just needs to be a guy, and he needs to play his role. But that is a little worrisome. Luckily, I think that US has the easiest pool, especially right now, and it won't really matter.
I agree. I don't think it'll matter, but I'm just a little bit worried on the eye test looking at Matt Anderson. I think that, like, my criticism of him for a while, especially in his blocking, which is honestly, it's frankly very bad. He has not been a good blocker, is that he's too conservative. And I think that it kind of plays with the rest of his game right now. Offensively, he's just way too conservative. He is hitting like 80% high hand shots and is just getting slowed down and continued all the time, especially on the left, where he should be a killer on the left side in rotation one. Just way too conservative, not willing to hit the ball into the court. He just wants fingertips. He wants to hit high. He's hitting balls out of bounds. He's not hitting the ball as hard as he can. Even I know he's still got it. He's just looking like he's playing too conservatively for my taste, and it is showing up on the stats. I mean, 7 for 25 as an opposite is way too many continuations for the men's game. That is not being terminal enough. So I'm a little bit worried about that, but will it come back to bite us in this pool? No, I don't think so. I think we're going to be fine. The other thing I wanted to do is shout out Egypt, because even though Slovenia has taken care of business so far and they're 4-0, I've honestly been impressed by Egypt's level. For
2.5 sets, I was really happy with this one.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And obviously they beat Japan, which is one of the great upsets, honestly, of all time. Taking a set from Slovenia, and 2.5 sets, I was pretty impressed with their level of ball. So I wanted to just give Egypt a little bit of shine, because it is looking right now that they will go to the Olympics. They are better. They're looking better than Tunisia right now, as far as the African race goes. And they have separated now actually a little bit more comfortably in world ranking. Egypt now 18, Tunisia 20.
And they have to play each other.
Yes, they will.
Too. So that will, if Egypt can get the dub. I kind of like this Egypt team. It's a very different Egyptian team than the ones we've seen over the past decade, with just like the same group of guys. So love to see it.
So this is the only pool that has really shaken out like we expected, where the USA and Slovenia, well, the only thing that was a stunner is Japan losing to Egypt. But there's a pretty clear divide in this pool between the top 4 and the bottom 4. And sure enough, the top 4 will all play each other this weekend. So the USA and Slovenia are in control. If Japan wants a chance in this pool, they're going to have to run the table. They're going to have to beat Serbia, Slovenia, and the United States. But Japan has a safety net of a high world ranking and being by far the best team in Asia. So they really have no pressure. This is Slovenia's moment. This is Slovenia's opportunity to finally go to the Olympics with this group.
And with the way that Japan has been playing too, like Slovenia can sense it. And I mean, they did lose to Japan in the quarterfinals of the VNL earlier this year, but I think like Slovenia is in a really, really, really good spot.
Oh yeah,
is in a really, really good spot to be able to move forward. Obviously, they need US to run the table. They need them to beat Japan too. But this one, like, I don't really see Serbia being a factor. I don't really see, like, it's really just between USA, Slovenia, and Japan. Like, Serbia to me has been lucky they haven't lost more matches.
I agree. Yeah, Serbia did lose to Turkey, but nothing else. Yeah, I don't see it for Serbia. I think their world ranking is going to continue to drop. So USA, Slovenia is, I guess it's like late tonight, like 3 a.m. Eastern tonight. And then Japan, Serbia also, like, I guess it's tomorrow, super early morning. So maybe I'll push it and try and stay awake and watch some of USA, Slovenia tonight. That'll be a good one. And then USA, Serbia, then it's USA, Serbia, Slovenia, Japan on Saturday. And then Japan, USA, Slovenia, Serbia on Sunday. So that's the situation in Pool B. Nothing super crazy.
Boo, boring. More boring.
I like boring. As an American fan, I love boring. Boring's great.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, once again, USA is one of those teams that, like, you're going to qualify regardless. That's not an issue. But
yeah, we're going to be just fine.
You should be just fine in this
one.
It's
not boring,
bro. My like, I am not going to be okay until Sunday, until I know what happens, because Canada plays Belgium on Sunday. And I think there's a few different things. First of all, I don't think it's out of the question that Argentina beats Poland.
I agree.
And just throws a wrench into all of this, right? And then you've got the triangle situation happening, right? Belgium's really good, right? So I think for us, we took care of business against China. That's fine. I mean, they get 3-downed all the time. They should be used to it. I remember back in the days when Chinese fans were in our stats or in our chat, being like, "Oh, China's gonna beat Canada at the World Championships." No. Go back to grade school, okay? Like, you're not even in the VNL anymore. You're not relevant. You're like you're nowhere. Just go home, okay? Go play against Denmark. You'll probably get 3-down by them too. But I am nervous, right? We are in a spot that, let's be honest, no one expected us to be in. That when having gotten a point over Poland is absolutely massive,
huge.
The only loss being, especially since we've won 2 5-setters. No,
yeah,
one.
Yeah, you beat the Netherlands in 5, lost to Poland in 5, beat Argentina in 4.
Beat Argentina in 4. Yeah, okay.
Which was similarly massive, like that.
Exactly. So. But when I look at it, like, first of all, Bulgaria's out here getting wins, and you still have Svetsan. You have one of the oldest players one of the greatest players of the older generation, and 2 up and coming players who are going to be fantastic. So the Bulgaria is going to be a tough ask. And then Mexico is Mexico. I'm sorry. I'm mad at Mexico right now.
Me too. I'm disappointed.
I'm mad that they didn't bring this team to Norseca's, because this team looks soft. They look unprepared. They're not here ready to fight. They're not here ready to go. We saw a fun-ass Mexican team at the World Championships last year. Yeah. Why? They brought that team to the Pan Am Cup first. That team was locked and loaded, ready to go. This team, man, brought a spoon to a gunfight. It has just been bad for
Mexico got 3-donked by China. I mean, come on. I was really hoping that they would be better than that. So that'll be a win for Canada. But yeah, Bulgaria and Belgium.
Belgium is the last one that scares the shit out of me. Now,
fair enough.
What I'm really hoping, because Belgium is going to be on that last day, I'm really hoping that something happens on the upset side of things. Like, Belgium loses a match in there that they maybe shouldn't. Like, who do they have left? Like,
I mean that you're all in that bottom group of the 4 seeds. It's Canada, Belgium, Bulgaria, Mexico will all play each other still.
So I want Bulgaria to beat Belgium.
Yeah,
and I want the
would help.
Netherlands to beat Argentina.
That would help.
And if those things happen, then we'd be good to go.
Yeah, those things would help. But what Canada really needs is for Poland to run the table.
Yes.
Poland needs to go 7-0. Poland cannot lose to Argentina, otherwise it gets really complicated. But the fact of the matter is that Canada right now controls its destiny. If Canada goes 3-0 and gets 9 points, they're in. That's it. There's nothing else that can happen. If Canada gets 9 points, they're going to the Olympics, and it's possible.
No, not even 9 points. Canada can get 6 points and still go to the Olympics because it's wins first.
It is wins first. Yeah, if you win 3 games, you're going to the Olympics. So, but I mean, we got to talk about Belgium, because Belgium, out of absolutely nowhere, beating their really bitter rivals in the Netherlands in a 3-dong was another absolute stunner. What was the world ranking shift on that? It must have been.
It was 12 points.
It's been pretty dramatic.
Points, yeah.
12, unbelievable. 12.6, ridiculous. This wasn't even a very good Ferry Ragers game. This was the Sam Deru game. 21 points, 15 for 28 with 4 blocks and 2 aces. What a clinic. And then Namir on the other side, very bad. 12 for 25, 16%, only 14 points, and a bunch of, and just not good enough from the service line. Like, where did this Belgium come from? They were awful at Eurovolley.
You know where they are? This is the bench warmers team, because you've got guys who have the first name D, De Hulsen, De Heer, who have traditionally played on very good club teams and just sat on the bench. Farah Riegers, as you said, is the truth. And we got to see him a little bit this year in Champions League and in the CEV Cup.
I wonder where he's going to play club this year.
And then Sam Deru, you look that up as I keep talking. Sam Deru has been a stud for a long time, right? This kid's been a stud since like 2013 when I saw Belgium play against Canada for the first time. So yeah, like I think that this team is really good. Are they overextending themselves a little bit? Yes, absolutely.
I agree. Do they have a chance to qualify for the Olympics? No. They can't do it in this pool, and they can't do it in world ranking. They're at 17th. They just have too much ground to make up. But the fact they're playing good volleyball is good for them. Ferry Ragers, by the way, going to Milano this year to be a backup, which is kind of crazy. They have 3 opposites. They have Kaziski, Dierlich, and Ragers. That's kind of weird. But anyway, Belgium has looked good. Does Belgium have the motivation to play and beat Canada on day 7? I would say maybe not. Canada will have way more to play for at that point.
That will be not only the motivation, but the gas in the tank.
That too.
Right? This is a 2-headed monster, right? Like you've got 2 guys here who are really running the show for you, who are really leading the way. So
I do like this Sepe Roti guy, their other outside hitter. He's been pretty good.
Yep. Yeah, me too. From the I haven't sat down and watched a Belgium game yet. I've watched some highlights. I've scrubbed through some matches, kind of stuff.
I watched this one. When they beat the Netherlands. Just like, oh yeah, Belgium versus the Netherlands. Like, that's a fun rivalry game. I assumed the Netherlands was going to figure it out and win. And boy, was I wrong.
You're wrong, Rob.
I was wrong.
But Belgium can qualify. They have 8 points. They're tied with Argentina.
Like in the pool, you mean?
Yeah.
But they already have 2 losses. I don't think 2 losses is going to do it. I think you either need to go 7-0 or 6-1.
It could, though. If Belgium runs the table, Canada will have 2 losses, and if Poland runs the table, Argentina will have 2 losses. But Belgium's not out. Belgium is still in this. And that's why that last match, as I said, that last match is so crucial. So crucial.
They would need an absolute miracle on points and tiebreak. Yeah, they would have to run the table. They'd have to get 9 points, and they would have to get a lot of help. Kind of like the situation the Canadian women were in. They needed a lot of help, and they didn't get it. That's what Belgium's situation is here.
It's still up there, though.
I guess it's mathematically possible. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think that I think that Canada
can they 3-dong
chance.
Bulgaria? Yes,
that's what they would need to do.
So they play Bulgaria, China, Mexico?
No, they play Bulgaria, Mexico, Canada.
Okay, so if they can get Belgium's in this, bro. I don't know why I'm fighting for this more than you are. I have way more on the line for this than you do. I think it could be a very spicy match. It could absolutely be a spicy match. Like, what happens if the Netherlands turns around and beats Argentina?
That would be good, because then you wouldn't have to worry about Argentina.
Yeah, but then we would have to worry about the Belgium. That last match would be even more important.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We also have to talk about quickly this. We talked about it earlier. Canada losing to Poland in 5. I mean, that's a good performance. Obviously, taking a point from the number 1 team in the world. But like you said, you had chances to win this match.
We did. Yeah, we had chances to win this one. It was a good match all around, but there was times in that 5th set that could have gone to get it. Honestly, I don't want to think about that too much.
Fair enough.
Just because it is against the number 1 team, like it's too much of a what if scenario.
Eric Loeppky was unbelievable, by the way.
Eric Loeppky was unreal. Really, just putting himself. I mean, Stephen Marr is unreal on the regular, and we know that. But yeah, like it was a fantastic match. Am I super happy that I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning to watch it? Actually, yes.
Really?
Yeah, actually, it was back and forth. It was entertaining. The guys played good. It was fun to watch. Just for the record, I'm not out here for a match like this in this type of tournament. I'm not out here setting an alarm for a 4 a.m. game. I just put it into the ethos. I just put it into the universe, and I'm like, hey, you know what, body? If you decide to wake up in that time frame, go to the bathroom, go have a water, stretch your legs, I'm gonna get up. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy the match. Now, was the rest of Tuesday an absolute write-off for me because I hadn't barely slept and then stuff? Yes, 100%. Just played Civilization 6 all day. It was fantastic.
I had a tough day too, because I stayed up super duper late that night to watch this and to watch the USA Turkey game. And
yeah, we basically took shifts that night.
Yeah,
you
pretty
stayed
much.
up, and then I woke up and continued watching. And then I watched. Who did I watch?
So like people are saying in the chat, Poland is now on a 21 match win streak, which is incredible. That is downright amazing. So good for them. Good for them. Also a correction. Good point in the chat. Canada versus Belgium is the second to last match. That's the Saturday game, not the Sunday game. So maybe that'll matter as well. Canada Mexico is the Sunday game, which is actually better. It's better for Canada.
Yeah. Who does?
So
okay,
Belgium, Bulgaria is the last game.
Okay.
Another match that
Bulgarian fan for that one.
Oh yeah. Speaking of being a big Bulgarian fan, this is the biggest world ranking point upset of the tournament. 13 points for Bulgaria, 3 donging the Netherlands in very dramatic fashion in the 3rd set. Simeon Nikolov, 16 years old, comes off the bench to set. Down 23-24, he rips an ace to force overtime. And then in overtime at 27-27, one-on-one brick houses Wouter Termat in one of the gnarliest blocks I've seen all year. The kid is 16. And can you imagine what it's like for him at 16, called up to the senior team, playing with his brother, and getting to set a legend like Svetan Sokolov, who he probably grew up idolizing? Like that, you can't write a better story than that. It's unbelievable. And Bulgaria, I mean, they've had a rough summer. They've had a rough 2 summers. Like Bulgaria has dropped all the way down past the 20s in world ranking. But for 13 points, they jump all the way. They jumped up 3 spots from this one win alone. And the Netherlands are spiraling out of control.
Spiraling. I mean, we've already chatted about them, but man, do the Nikolov brothers not look alike, eh? They are almost identical.
100%.
But you know what? When you're Bulgaria in this tournament, there's no pressure.
No, absolutely.
There's no pressure. And I've always found too that I feel like the Eastern European teams, the Serbias and the Bulgarias and maybe even the Polands, just tend to put themselves have a little bit more pressure on themselves sometimes. I think that's just their ethos and their attitude. But right now, Bulgaria playing with house money. They're rolling.
Good for them.
They're absolutely rolling. So good for them.
Good for them. I agree. Yeah, we are. I mean, we've already documented the Netherlands. They're spiraling out of control. It's very bad. You cannot be out here getting 3-dong by Bulgaria with a 16-year-old setter. Like that just cannot happen. Their offense was just not good enough. Putting Wouter Termat in on the left side is not going to be the band-aid to rescue a game that you think it is. I don't know what's happening there. Another game that ended up being really good was Argentina just insisting on going to 5. I don't know what they're doing here. It's actually kind of bad. It's kind of bad for Canada, honestly. Argentina goes up 2 because it gave Belgium a point. Argentina goes up 2-0 and then falls asleep at the wheel and allows Belgium back into it. It goes all the way to 5 and goes the distance. This was basically a track meet, like, or a shootout, like, in football when both teams score 40 and it's just offense. Listen, look at these team efficiencies. 43% efficiency for Argentina, 44% efficiency for Belgium. Not a single bit of defense being played on either side. Just out here banging balls. I'm sure it was fun to watch at like 5 a.m.
Yeah, I did not watch this one.
Me neither.
But good, honestly, like good on Argentina. I still think that they're dangerous. I still think that they can beat Poland. Like this Pool C, I think can get even crazier because I really think that the Netherlands are going to pop off and win a match that they shouldn't.
They might. And then maybe it's against Argentina. I mean, the Netherlands, so. Argentina, China, and Poland are all going to play each other, and all 3 of those teams are obviously going to beat up on China. Got to shout out Ferry Regers in this one. I mean, come on, 27 points, 24 for 39, 51% efficiency. The kid is 20. It's going to be so good. Really like him a lot. Really like him. And credit to Dan. Dan Manili has been on Ferry Regers for years. He's known about
people
this
have been asking. Dan has been coming up in the chat today.
Well,
it's a Dan and Neely type of day.
We miss Dan. Dan is working for Maple Leaf Sport and Entertainment in Toronto. Good for him.
Yeah, he's specifically working for the Raptors. He's working in the NBA. So
last match I want to talk about, Everett. We already talked about. I mean, Canada 3-dong China, no problem. However, Arthur Schwartz got benched here, and Nick Hogue came in at opposite, quote unquote, and Canada kind of ran a 3 outside thing. What do you think of that?
It's happened before. It's not the first time that we've had Hogue on the right side. I don't like it because I would rather see Jordan Canham in there.
I agree.
Just in terms of long-term longevity. Get him in there against China. Get him to I mean, he's played internationally before. We saw him in West Virginia. We saw him in the Pan Am Cup and stuff like that. He's going to play for Arcus. He's going to play underneath, Gregor Grozier. I would want to see him out there, but hey, if you want to get Nick Hogue some playing time, get him out there, because like we're probably going to need Nick Hogue at some point in the next 3 days, right?
Probably. Yep.
And we've barely seen him. Let's get Nick Hogue out.
Seen him come in and miss float serves, which is
yes, for sure,
unacceptable.
Just to piss off Rob St. Clair, absolutely. So yeah, I'm not too mad about that. Also, let's give Arthur a couple of days off. Love it, 100%.
I want to see Canham start against Mexico.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I want to see Cam. I want to see Walsh. I want to see
Hofer.
Yeah, I was trying to think of his name. Yes, Hofer. I want to see the bench. Let's just bring out the bench against Mexico.
So
especially if we have to play Belgium the next day, and that is the do or die game. Absolutely, bench against
other way around. Yeah, Belgium is Saturday, Mexico is Sunday. So that probably we won't see that because Canada will probably need to play the starters and really make very, very sure that they beat Mexico. So we'll see what happens.
True.
So yeah, Poland, Argentina, and the Netherlands will all get to beat up on China these next couple days. Netherlands versus Argentina is going to be a big one head-to-head, and then Argentina versus Poland is going to be a big one head-to-head. I have a lot of faith in Poland. I think that Poland's going to go 7-0 here because we haven't seen Leon at all. We haven't seen Śliwka at all. They've been which is because Poland is so unbelievably deep. They're able to start Bednor's Fornal and
play the bench.
Yeah, quote unquote play the bench, who would start on literally any other national team in the world. Also, Huber and Kochanowski have been unstoppable attacking in the middle. So I like Poland's chances. I think they look great. They're probably going to go 7-0 here. But like we said, Canada plays Bulgaria Friday, Belgium Saturday, Mexico Sunday. Those 3 games for a chance for the Maple Volleys to go back to the Olympics. I mean, that's it. That's the path.
I'm just nervous, Rob St. Clair. I'm really nervous.
I know.
I really am. It's you would have thought that beating teams like Argentina and the Netherlands and almost beating Poland would have made this easier.
No.
Hell, if we had lost this at this point, I'd just be like, yeah, whatever, we're done, we're out. But we have a shot, and that makes me nervous.
Good shot. Very good shot.
And it's tough. So, yeah. All right.
I think that's a show.
I think that's a show.
That's our update. That's so much to talk about with just 2 days of matches. This has been an all-time tournament. All-time ridiculous tournament.
Love it.
We'll be back on either Monday or Tuesday to break down who ends up getting these last Olympic bids. You all know how it works by now. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the matches. They're all on Volleyball World TV. You know where to find them. You know to join the Volleyball Source Discord to talk about them with everybody. There's basically matches going on 24/7. And it's going to be a crazy 3 days. So strap in. Get ready to watch a lot of volleyball, and we'll be back on the 9x9 very soon once we hand out 6 bids to Paris.
Love it. I cannot wait. All right, guys, make sure, as Rob said, join Discord. Go to volleyball store. If you have any questions and you want us to talk about anything, let us know on the Discord. And
put them in the comments. Put them in the comments.
Tell us where's Daddy.
Along with your comments of where Daddy Stankovic is. Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments of the video.
Yeah. All right. Peace, homies.
Thanks, people.
Go.